Hey, how's it going everyone? Teysind here. Today bringing some awesome JRPG and Japanese game news. Today we're going to be talking about the Parasite Eve series, a JRPG survival horror series created by Square-Enix. The game was produced by Hironobu Sakaguchi, the godfather of the Final Fantasy series, and the music was done by Yoko Shimomura, the composer for the Kingdom Hearts series, as well as Final Fantasy 15 and many more. Now what's awesome about this series is that Square-Enix recently filed a trademark for Parasite Eve in Europe. This is very interesting. One, we've recently just seen Parasite Eve come to the PlayStation Classic in Japan, not in the Western version of the PlayStation Classic, but also the first Parasite Eve game was never released in Europe. It was only ever released in NTC regions, that being Japan and North America, but it never got a PAL release. This is very fascinating to see this trademark filed for Europe. Now, what this could mean are many things. One, it could mean they're simply renewing the trademark for the series, but given this is in Europe only for the time being, I feel that is less likely. Two, they could be doing a remaster for the series, either doing a remaster of one of the games, for example Parasite Eve 1, or doing a collection of Parasite Eve 1, Parasite Eve 2, and the third birthday. But three, they could also be doing a remake of the very first Parasite Eve game, something that's sort of fitting in a line with the Resident Evil 2 remake coming out shortly. This could be them following onto that and bringing back the Parasite Eve series. But what this could also mean lastly is that they are making a brand new game for the Parasite Eve series. So again, there's a lot that this could lead into just to see the Parasite Eve series pop up again, especially this marking the 20th anniversary year for Parasite Eve. The first Parasite Eve game was released in 1998, and it's interesting because the most recent Parasite Eve game, the third birthday, that was released back in 2010, so it's already been 8 years since we've last heard anything about the series. I would be very excited to see a remake of the very first Parasite Eve game, or also a brand new Parasite Eve game to the series. I feel that might be less likely given the fact that this may be more difficult for people to jump into the series, and given this is being trademarked for Europe, Europe has not actually been able to play the very first Parasite Eve game without importing a North American copy and having a modded PlayStation or PlayStation 2 to be able to play that. So this is very fantastic news to basically sort of more allude to that potentially we are getting a remake of the first Parasite Eve game. I feel a remaster would be less likely because the game is very much dated, and I think a remaster would not do the game justice. I would love to see a remake, but it's also possible that we may get a brand new game from the original novel to the series. So the first Parasite Eve game is actually a sequel to a novel of the same name, which was written by Hideaki Sena, and that novel is the first story in the series. That was written in 1995, and it was localized in English in 2005. But to be able to get a game version of that, that would actually be something that could be worked, because one, it's a brand new game, and two, it is the origin story of the series. So that could be something that could then later lead into a remake of the first Parasite Eve 1 game, and then potentially a remake of Parasite Eve 2, or also a third game in the series. Unlike the third birthday, it can be a direct sequel to Parasite Eve 2, because the third birthday, although it was a sequel, it was more of a spiritual successor slash spin-off. It took the story in a very different direction. It did not revolve much around the mitochondrial life known as the Eve, and it sort of went into some forms of time travel, other beings known as the Twisted, and it wasn't as favorably received by the Parasite Eve fanbase as well as people playing the game. So again, this is very awesome news, and we'll see where that leads us to. If you're interested in staying up to date with more JRPG and Japanese gaming news, especially Parasite Eve news, feel free to subscribe and even check out my Instagram for some of my collection pictures. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, hope you enjoyed, and till next video, stay spot on.